Welcome to the Thriving Tribesmen podcast. My name is Kuri, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. One of the things I hear the most when I speak to people within a sexless relationship is that I've tried everything and none of it has worked. And I know you listening to this podcast right now, you have that feeling that you've tried everything and you feel like, what else can I do in order to make this work? And I know some of you guys, you've tried so many other things. You've tried to go to therapy. You've tried sex therapists. You've tried intimacy coaches. You've tried to go on date nights. You've tried to plan big holidays. You've saved, maybe even spent money that you don't even have in order to give her things, in order to try and change things. In fact, I heard recently of a guy who had an entire surgery for his teeth to try and impress her, and still that was not good enough. And the reason why I'm saying this is because sometimes when you do more things in order to try and change a sexless relationship, it's usually the wrong thing. And it's so for example, I absolutely hate eggs. No, not hate them. I actually like eggs because of the nutrients that they would give. I wish I could eat more eggs, but from a very young age, I do not know why. I didn't like the smell of eggs. I don't like the texture of eggs. As soon as I eat them, I just want to hurl. I mean, I'm just going to puke. And I've tried different ways of eating them. I've tried boiled eggs. I've tried scrambled eggs. And there's a time when I just said, I'm not going to even try. And I remember when I got married, my wife was like, that's ridiculous. How can you say you don't like eggs? So she said, maybe if you have it in an omelette, that might work. So she went on to create this omelette. And I thought, yeah, a bit of potatoes, a bit of ham, a bit of stuff. It might mask the egg enough so I can eat it and enjoy it. As soon as I tasted it, I must have taken 2 bites of the thing, and literally I was in the toilet hurling. And when that process went through, I just realized that just disguising it or giving me more egg or giving me a variation of egg will never allow me to eat the egg. Now, what does this have to do with being in a sexless relationship? So if you're in a sexless relationship and your partner is a low libido partner and they are at least repelled by the idea of sex or even getting into desire or even your seduction, they don't want to be participating in any of it. The last thing you want to do is give them more seduction or anything that is insinuating sex. And this is inspired by the fact that whenever I speak to people initially when they say, oh, I've tried everything. And I said, well, you haven't tried everything, because the first thing that I would tell you to do is completely remove yourself from the actual getting of sex. Because the moment you actually let that go, it's the beginning of her actually feeling less pressure and giving her room to actually feel seduction and want to engage in seduction. So it becomes very important to actually, I think this is one of the biggest stumbling block when it comes to people, is that because they feel they've tried everything, which usually is the wrong thing anyways, they think that there's nothing that they can do, and they go into what I'm beginning to call osmosis mode, hope osmosis mode, where they just feel like, I'm just going to stand here and just hope, and then one day through some sort of osmosis, I'm going to wake up one day and my sex life would be great again. And it's a very terrible way of looking at things. And like I said, when it comes to dealing with a sexless relationship, offering up more sex is just as similar as somebody trying to give me eggs in a different format. And it doesn't matter what format you give it to me, I don't want to eat eggs. I'm going to hurl. But on the other hand, if you make a cake and then you put some flour and you put the other stuff and put frosting, and I'll eat that cake. And especially if it's chocolate with some cream, absolutely love that stuff. I'll eat loads of cake. If I could get away with eating cake every single day without putting on any weight, I'd eat eggs. I would eat cake every single day. That's what I'm trying to say now. So I do consume stuff with eggs, but it's been disguised. It's been put into this frosting. It's been put into cake. And this is when we talk about seduction. This is where the difference becomes when it comes to seduction, that you are embedding sex in other things that will trigger her, what we call the E factors, the E triggers, which is the emotional triggers. So she's got emotional triggers that will need to be engaged in order for it to participate in sex or in desire or arousal. And the set of things that you might need to do in terms of behavior. And when you can do those, it's similar to be presenting them. You present them in the way that she wants to. And generally, it's through behavior. When you do that, again, you're now disguising sex within the behavior that promotes that trigger to be engaged. So again, I don't know if hopefully I didn't lose you there, but it kind of, if you see it from that perspective, you start saying that when you say you've tried everything, you did try everything to the knowledge that you have, which initially was, I need to seduce her more. I need to do more washing or do more house chores in order to get favor, or I need to spend more. I need to do more dates. And all of these are transactional things. She knows that that's transactional because you are the outcome of those things is to have sex, and therefore, because you're sort of trying to present sex, usually it actually puts you guys back. Sometimes she will feel sorry for you. Obviously, many of you guys that I speak to that are men are usually the breadwinners, so there is that risk of losing. The fear of losing her lifestyle. So she knows that, okay, maybe you are the breadwinner. If for whatever reason, if you ended up leaving and cheating on her or divorcing her, there's a high chance that her lifestyle would have to change. So therefore, you feel like this paycheck again. Then so she will sort of give you this pity sex just to keep you sweet and hopeful enough that something is going to happen or something is going to change and string you along. But really, it's not because she hates sex, not because she hates you or anything like that. It's just that her default state is not to have sex continuously. And again, if you're not triggering the right E triggers, then therefore she's not going to be coming out of her shell, because there's something within the brain that is telling her, do not go into desire, do not go into arousal. And it's having that ability to create that environment that makes it free to actually let go and then give herself into seduction and give herself into arousal. And it always comes down to the behavior. And like I said, with me, if you want me to eat eggs, cook a cake, put the eggs in there and disguise it with flour and whatever frostings and so on. I'll eat loads of cake. Well, loads of egg within cake. So it becomes very important that when you think about seduction, you have to think of it as almost a magician that you. And again, when I explain this to somebody, so that sounds like manipulation. It's only manipulation if you're doing it for your own gain. I mean, we do manipulation every single day, every single time. But what stops it from being manipulation is when you're doing it for the beneficial for both of you. And I want you that to sink in, because one of the things that when I was teaching this to somebody, said, all this sounds like manipulation. I'm not good with that. I said, well, it's only manipulation if you're doing it for your own personal gain. And again, some of you guys are so transactional, it comes across manipulative because that's how you are, that's how you're made up. And that's the reason why you're in a sexless relationship, because you're focused on getting what's yours, what you're entitled to. But when you change and shift your mind to how can it be collaborative, how can this be for together, and you're doing it for your relationship. Because if it's her desire, her excitement that you're considering, your desire, your excitement that's doing it collaboratively, then it's not manipulation. In fact, both of you will come off that bed or wherever you have sex feeling fulfilled, feeling amazing, feeling in love. And that's what I want for you guys. So thank you very much for listening. I've said more than I needed to say. And yes, I do like cake, but don't subtract the flour and then give me just egg. Hell no. So thank you very much for listening, guys. Obviously, soon. Take care.